Are you hoarding toilet paper? Are you out there looking for guns and ammo? Are you a vegetarian and all of a sudden hoarding some crazy amount of meat? Have all the bananas you bought over the past 2 months spoiled? What's up everyone, David here with Free2Be, and thank you for joining me for another video. In today's video, I want to cover items that you don't necessarily need to buy in bulk or hoard during the COVID-19 pandemic, because really it's a waste of money to do that. You don't need to necessarily go and buy hundreds of pounds of meat, especially if you're not going to end up going through that and it's just going to be wasted to begin with. You don't need to be stockpiling toilet paper. So these are just items that you don't necessarily need to worry about the availability, because they will be available to you in the future as you need them. All right, now if you're new to this channel, please take a moment and click the subscribe button down below. I cover financial literacy here, as well as tracking my progress to financial independence. And hopefully by doing that, I'm creating a blueprint that others can use and just putting generally valuable content out there on the internet. And if you're not new, thanks so much for coming back. I do really appreciate your support. It does motivate me and encourage me to keep making these videos every single week. So thank you so much for coming back and for already being subscribed. Okay, so there's been a lot of media coverage over items that people need and basically have run low in terms of inventory. If you go to your, supermarket or your pharmacy, you're not finding these items. And that's what we're going to be covering here today. You shouldn't be spending your money trying to locate items like this or sourcing them or stockpiling them, because really you could be using that money elsewhere and they're just not really essential, even though you might be thinking that they are. And there are going to be a few items on this list, so you're definitely going to want to watch this entire video, because it'll help you try to figure out and identify what you want to be putting your efforts towards going and getting, and where you want to kind of be watching what resources you spend and allocate all that accordingly. So the first thing is surgical or medical grade masks. Now, I know that everyone's kind of freaking out and they think that by going and buying these masks, they're going to be putting themselves in a greater position to try to avoid getting this virus. And while that could be true and you could actually be putting yourself in a better place, it's right now recommended to wear masks, not just for your safety, but really you're wearing a mask for other people's safety. So, there's really no need to go out there and spend hundreds of dollars basically paying markup prices for surgical masks, when those things actually should be saved right now for medical professionals, for hospitals, doctors, dentists, anybody that actually needs that kind of equipment. They should really be getting first dibs here, not you and I. We can put on bandanas or cloth masks and be just fine, because we don't have that volume, that interaction necessarily with people that are at high risk or who have already contracted this illness. So don't go wasting your money trying to get surgical masks if you don't really need that, if you're not in the medical field and don't need that protection. Now, the next item on this list really matters when you go grocery shopping and planning out your meals for a week or 2 weeks out. Don't buy overly processed or dehydrated foods, because those items are usually not that great for you, and they're going to be higher in content with things like salts and sugars, which will break down your body. And right now, we all need to be very conscious of our health, because if we do come in contact with this disease, we are going to want our bodies to be in tip-top shape so that they have the best chance of fighting this off. So don't go crazy buying, frozen goods or dehydrated items just because you think that you need to have a stash or, stockpile at home. That's not the case at all. Try to think, fresh produce, fresh fruit for, the week, 2 weeks out, and then, plan accordingly that way. If you want to mix up some frozen items here and there, that's fine, but don't just plan your entire 2 weeks worth of meals based on these items. Now, the next one on the list is a very important one, because this is the first thing that kind of flew off the shelves. And honestly, I still haven't seen this in stores in terms of being back to what it was normally in terms of the stock, and that is toilet paper. We get it. Everyone is struggling to try to find toilet paper. But you know what, guys? I've actually had a lot of success just monitoring online, monitoring websites, and just buying toilet paper online. I've been able to get like 36 rolls through Walmart over the past 3 weeks. I'm fine. So you can do the same thing. Look online, try to get creative with it, and don't necessarily stockpile. You don't need to have hundreds of rolls of toilet paper in your home. If you think about, like, one roll will last an adult 4 days, plan that way. I mean, you really only need about 50 rolls to last you about 6 months if it's 1 or 2 people in your household. If it's a family of 4, sure, maybe you need 100 rolls for half a year, but we don't really need a half a year's worth of toilet paper supplied at home. Let everybody have access to this stuff. It'll eventually ramp back up and the stock will be plentiful. So don't really worry and don't panic buy when it comes to that kind of thing. Now, the next thing on this list goes back to grocery shopping, and that's things that you won't eat. If you've never really made certain foods, don't start planning meals around that, because you're really just going to end up wasting your money on grocery items that you won't use and that'll potentially spoil. So if you were never really big into bananas, don't go buy 20, 30 bananas because you're thinking that, hey, it's actually a great way to sustain some kind of food in me, some kind of potassium, nutrients, and then just let those 100 bananas spoil. It doesn't make sense to now kind of venture out and explore different food options that you weren't normally accustomed to prior to all this. Stick with your plan, stick to things that you would normally feel comfortable eating, and don't waste your money on unnecessary grocery items. Now, the next thing on this list is going to be vitamins. Now, while vitamins are important, if you are keeping up with a nutritional meal plan that includes fruits and vegetables, you are going to get plenty of intake in terms of the vitamins that you need. A lot of people out there think that, if they take zinc or vitamin D or just multivitamins, they're going to be able to, prevent coronavirus from taking over their body. And there's actually no proof of that. Yes, if you are having, trouble sustaining any kind of nutrients in your body, you can supplement with those vitamins. But again, for the most part, most of us get that kind of intake from eating fruits and vegetables and just keeping a balanced and overall healthy diet. So there's no reason to go and buy 2 years worth of vitamins, because again, certain vitamins like vitamin C or zinc, your body ends up flushing out any excess amounts anyways. So it's just money that you're wasting on those items. Now, the next item on the list is actually something that kind of blows my mind, that we even saw a spike of people becoming sick off of this stuff. But do not buy Clorox or disinfectants in hopes that that is going to cure you of any potential coronavirus infection. That is just not the case. I mean, the fact that we have even talk about that is pretty crazy. Don't go buy extra Clorox, for fear of when you contract this disease, you'll be able to cure yourself by taking a shot. That is not the case. We actually know that for a fact. So do not do that. Next item on the list is guns and ammo. Why is anybody needing to buy guns and ammo right now? We're not about to enter any kind of zombie apocalypse. There's not going to be looting and rioting. You don't need to go buy guns and ammo to protect your home right now. None of that is really a necessary expense. Sure, if you are a hunter or you want to go do some recreational shooting and you would have bought these things anyway, that's fine. I'm not saying that no one should own guns. That's not a position that I'm in to say anything about. I'm just saying that you shouldn't go buy these items for this purpose, for protecting your home during the coronavirus pandemic. That doesn't make any sense. So avoid that expense if possible. Now, the next item on the list is clothing. And while it is fun to shop for clothing from time to time, I mean, I do love shopping just like anybody else would. Right now, it's a very dangerous time to do that, because really our only connection with the outside world is the internet. So when we want to go shopping, it is just a few clicks away, and a lot of times we have our credit card information already stored and ready to go. We have login information for our favorite sites. So shopping is super easy, and you'll end up overspending on things that are not essential to you right now. So if you can avoid it, don't go right now and just, blow all your money on clothing. It's not really the appropriate time to do that. Now, with that said, there's nothing wrong with treating yourself from time to time, because again, we are all going pretty crazy stuck up in our homes. So if it means buying yourself the occasional item, I'm okay with that. But this is just so you don't go blow your entire stimulus, check on clothing. You don't need to do that. And finally, the last thing you need to avoid purchasing and stockpiling and hoarding is bottled water. That makes no sense. And if you're still worried about the condition and quality of your water, if you are in a Flint, Michigan, or somewhere where water has been contaminated, buy yourself a water filter so that you can kind of be more effective and efficient with your money, as opposed to spending $50, $60 a month buying bottled water. That just doesn't make any sense. So that is, again, a purchase that we don't need to be making on a regular basis. That is a grocery item we don't need. It's something that we don't need to be spending our money on. we can avoid that expense. We should be avoiding that expense. Water is still readily available. Again, we're not going through any kind of zombie apocalypse. It's a pandemic. It's a coronavirus pandemic, and we'll get over it eventually. So don't panic buy and buy 40, 50 gallons of water to have on hand like the world's about to fall apart. So those are the items that I wanted to share with you today. You can kind of avoid purchasing these and hoarding them, creating stockpiles. You don't really need any of these items. They're available to you in other ways. Save your money, use that money for something else, something that can help you in the long term. And I think ultimately you'll be better off for it. So if you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, please take a moment and click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so, and it really does mean a lot to me. And we'll see you next time.